Is living in McKinney, Texas right for you?
If you're thinking about moving to McKinney, Texas, you need to know the full picture because moving to the wrong town could cost you a lot of money, regret, and time that you're never going to get back.
But before we start, I'm Holly Haven.
And I'm Andy Haven.
And we are the Haven Home Team, your North Texas real estate professionals. So McKinney, Texas has some pros and some cons, but it definitely has its own vibe. So we want to tell you all about it.
We've helped countless families move to McKinney, Texas, and we've seen what they love and what has caught them off guard as a newcomer to McKinney, Texas. So we're here to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, just like our last video, but of McKinney, Texas this time.
Let's start with the location and commute times.
McKinney is located just north of Plano and just east of Frisco in Collin County. It's also located pretty much right between 75. It kind of goes east and west of 75, and then also splits 380 as well. So the nice thing about McKinney's location is it's a free highway both ways, so east and west and north and south. So it can pretty much get you wherever you need to go without having to take the tollway.
Yeah, and Highway 75 is a quick, easy connection to 121, which unfortunately is a tollway.
Yeah.
But that gets you to DFW Airport in about 30 minutes, Dallas Love Field in about 30 to 40 minutes. So if you're traveling or you fly in and out and commute for work like that, it's really a conveniently located area, honestly, for anybody commuting, whether it's to downtown Dallas or to those airports to get out of town.
Yeah, and I have a lot of clients that work in either North Dallas or South Plano, and so that commute can be a little bit tough depending on what area you're living in. And McKinney seems to be kind of the most centrally located for people commuting to Plano and Dallas, just because 75 takes you all the way there. Although the traffic does kind of stink sometimes, it gets really congested, but it's free, so it's not the tollway that's costing you $20 round trip every single day. So I do think it's a nice middle ground, and if you do work on that side of town, it is a nice commute.
And would you say that we have walkable or public transit options in McKinney, Texas?
I would say if you live specifically in historical downtown McKinney, it is very walkable to the downtown area, but no, we do not really have much public transit. We don't have, not a lot of the towns in our area are very walkable, and definitely not McKinney. You do have the DART, so there are places that you can stop in Plano and take it into Dallas if that's something that you need to do. But it's not something that a lot of us, I've never even used the DART, and I've lived here my whole life, so.
Yeah, and I would say when we talk about public transportation in North Texas as a whole, it's not a big feature. It's not a big offering. It's not something we really have it as like a pro on any of our videos, but it is nice to be able to drive to Plano, park your car, jump on that rail system, and get to maybe a Dallas Stars game, right? Because then you're missing the parking fees and the travel back and forth. So there are some good options there, but not for your daily commute. You're definitely gonna need a vehicle.
Now the cost of living for McKinney, we've talked about this in all of our past videos for Prosper, Salina, and Frisco, but we did just want to mention that McKinney is 10% higher on the national average for the cost of living. And then also for the state of Texas, it's 6% higher than the Texas average. So you are on the higher end, but also when you take into consideration that McKinney does have 230,000 people, you are in a large town. So that is more likely going to be higher on the national average than a smaller rural town in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is more affordable than some of the other big cities or towns that surround McKinney, more affordable than Frisco, Allen, and even Prosper. Yeah. So, housing costs do play a big role in all of North Texas and in the cost of living. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Things to do in McKinney, Texas. Let's just start with the historic downtown, because that's really what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
It was established in 1848 and really has maintained that old world charm and historic style. So it's a really cool place. We love downtown McKinney.
It is, yeah. There's 120 shops, restaurants, and boutiques down there. So it's really nice for a leisurely day trip. They also have tons of festivals, tons of family-friendly events. There's also obviously alcohol events, but it's not 21 and up. Generally, the kids are invited. But it's usually, it's really cool because you can meet lots of other people. It helps you kind of immerse in some different cultures. So there's, we have Oktoberfest. There is a Cinco de Mayo event, I believe.
There's a 4th of July. There's art and wine walks. They do lots of really cool events with even some local breweries and wineries in the downtown area. So it feels definitely like that small town feel. And you've mentioned there's over 230,000 residents in McKinney, but it still kind of keeps that community feel and that just small hometown, good food, cute shopping. It's a really great I'm going to say it's a good girls' day to go spend an afternoon in downtown McKinney. If you're really interested in cultural and art events, there are several options in downtown McKinney. There is the McKinney Performing Arts Center, as well as the Collin County Historic Museum.
And then if you're also interested in more outdoor activities, because a lot of the surrounding towns don't have a lot of options like that, there are 50 plus parks actually in McKinney. There's a lot of dog parks, there's a lot of parks for kids, there's trails, walking trails, biking trails. There's a lot of different options in McKinney. And there's also pickleball and tennis courts, which are really nice. And a lot of them are public, which is really cool. Next, we wanted to talk about shopping opportunities in McKinney, because I know we talked about some of the small businesses in historic downtown, but we didn't really mention if there's malls or big box stores and stuff like that. So there are big box stores like Lowe's, Target, TJ Maxx, stuff like that, but there's not any major shopping upscale districts like Frisco and Plano have. So we have obviously the Star in Frisco and Legacy in Plano that are all of our high-end shopping, and those are very close to McKinney. You can get there in about 15 to 20 minutes. So it's not something that I would say is a con of McKinney, because it does kind of keep that small town feel without having all of the large shopping districts.
Yeah, and for your normal mall, you can easily get to Frisco, to Stonebriar. So close proximity, but not necessarily right down the street from you. Now let's talk about McKinney schools. McKinney is rated a B rating by the Texas Education Agency. There's approximately 32 schools and over 23,000 students that McKinney ISD serves. And that student ratio is about 14-1, which is a really good student ratio.
Yeah, it is really great. And it's not something that there's so many schools and so many students. With 230,000 people, it's interesting that only 10% of those are students in the ISD. So that does kind of give you an idea of what the demographics are in McKinney as well. There's a very good division. It's also family friendly. Anybody can live in McKinney. It's a really cool town. I think it's somewhere that you can obviously grow, but you can also retire.
I do. I feel like McKinney is one of our best local cities that really does serve all age groups and all demographics.
Yeah.
So it's probably our best, like, well-rounded, feels like a small town, but kind of has everything you need.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a small town. We want to make that very clear. Right. Talking about Salina in the past, Salina is more of a small town. McKinney is absolutely massive. The landmass is huge. But if you're in historic downtown McKinney, it feels small. So that's kind of where we're coming from with that. Next, we wanted to talk about the crime and safety in the city of McKinney. So the city of McKinney is actually the second safest mid-sized city in America as of 2022, which is really crazy and really amazing because McKinney is so large. And it's something that we kind of wanted to go over since they do get an overall rating of a B for the state of Texas. We also wanted to mention that the crime in this area is generally non-violent crime. So it's not something that you should necessarily be afraid of. It's something that you should be aware of and lock your doors, lock your house doors, your car doors, hide your keys, all the things. But it's not something that, not to say there isn't violent crime, but generally that's not an issue in this area.
Yeah, and I would say it really is what you would expect any larger city to experience. There are going to be car vandalism and car theft, and there's going to be things like that, but we do generally see this, as she mentioned, as nonviolent crimes. So definitely we want you to do your research, and we recommend often to our clients, if they're looking at a specific home within a specific neighborhood, go ahead and pull up those crime maps. There's a couple different options for that, and we can definitely help you guys through that if it is a concern or something that we need to dig a little deeper on. All right, what you guys are really here to talk about is the housing market in McKinney, Texas. So median home price in McKinney is approximately $510,000. That was really a big reporting of August 2023. So those numbers are going to, they change a little bit as time goes, but the DFW median at the same time was $375,000. So we can see that we are definitely a little bit above the DFW average, but we are much more affordable in McKinney than we are in those surrounding cities like Prosper that sits over $800,000, Frisco at nearly $700,000, and Salina also over $600,000. So I feel like McKinney gives us more options, as we mentioned in that last little piece, is that we have a lot of options for all different age groups, price points, budgets, from the lower end of just like getting into your first home all the way up to very nice estate homes on the golf course and things like that. There are a few master planned, really popular communities in McKinney. That's going to be things like Craig Ranch with golf course and amenity centers and workout facilities and things like that. We also have Painted Tree, which is a newer community it's like an 1,100 acre community with all different types of homes.
Housing, so many different
housing options. Lakes and parks and nature trails. They've done a really good job of kind of combining the outside living with, kind of the home life in the community. So that's been a really popular neighborhood the last couple of years. Stonebridge Ranch is probably my all-time favorite in McKinney. It is a well-established neighborhood. It does have different community amenities depending on which part of Stonebridge Ranch you're in. It's made up of, oh my gosh, guys.
Probably like 25 or more. You think more?
Yeah. There's so many. I actually had to pull a map of this one time for a client and I should have done it before this video. I apologize I didn't, but I want to say there's almost 50 or 60 different neighborhoods that combine to make Stonebridge Ranch. So what that does is it gives you these really cool options. Like one area has a beach club. Some have lakes and ponds, fishing ponds. There's sport courts and tennis courts. There is the Stonebridge Country Club. So
and there's multiple golf courses within the Stonebridge Ranch area as well.
Stonebridge Ranch is really the thing that I really like about Stonebridge Ranch, excuse me, is the trees.
Yeah, it's very treed, very mature trees, and it's very pretty. When you drive down the main street, there are just so many large trees that cover the area. It feels old, but the homes are not old. It's a really, really cool vibe, especially coming from an area where there's not a lot of nature here. So it kind of brings that nature in.
Yeah, and the benefit you mentioned just in the last point that there's not a lot of new build in McKinney right now. So what you're getting is these existing homes that have had a chance for the trees to mature. And McKinney, it has some rolling hills. It has the most topography of any of our little North Texas towns here. But it definitely is, it just has a very different vibe. It feels very welcoming. It feels very comfortable. You're going to find a lot of the elementary schools within neighborhoods and communities. So it's definitely a different vibe than what you're comparing maybe some of those brand new master plan communities in prosperous Salina. It looks a little different because of the maturity, but definitely some great options in there. And then Trinity Falls is another one of the newer neighborhoods. It's been around now 5+ years.
It's still growing though. Well, and there's also Adriatica Village, which is a Croatian style village. It's really, really cool. If you go out there, it's great for family photos, prom pictures. You'll always see people taking pictures out there.
Prom, senior photos. It's a great area.
But there's lots of restaurants. There's lots of businesses. Generally, a lot of your general practitioner doctors are going to be out there, which is kind of funny. But it's a really beautiful area. It's on like a big water, maybe a creek or something along those lines. But it's beautiful. You can go walk around it. Again, really great for photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, we like that area. Well, guys, we hope you found this video helpful and maybe it answered some questions. It might have even created some new ones.
And if you have any questions, click on any of the boxes on the screen now. There are some videos for our past videos. We always update with our upcoming videos. You can also subscribe as well and like this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions or if you want to just congratulate us on a good video. That would be fun.
Yeah, do that.
Well, thank you guys so much. We will see y'all in our next video.
Bye, guys.